Hi, welcome to the energy update for October 2018. I'm Lee, and every month in these energy update videos I take the pulse of what's going on energetically, collectively, and see if I can be of use to you as we go through these interesting times on Earth that we're all being affected by. And for those of you who've watched my videos regularly, you will have heard me say at the beginning of September that we're in this new period, September to December. There is a lot of new energy and a real shift and sea change from the intensity and the challenges and the lessons that many people found themselves being pummeled through between the kind of April to August period. And one thing that came to me very strongly as I was tuning in today, and this is something that some of you might be feeling the residue of right now, is that during the May to August period this year, many people at high speed went through a lot of contract changes. So some of you, that might literally have meant contracts falling through on houses, businesses, those kinds of things. But actually, for most of us at a soul level, we have contracts with each other. So I might have a contract with a business partner to be in business with them for a few years and to create something good together, but then at a certain point we just go off in slightly different directions, or we're no longer colliding, so it's important to end the business or the partnership. So this can happen in business partnerships, it can happen with family members, loved ones, it can also happen with places that we live and houses that we've perhaps been in for a long time. So the message that came this morning was this extraordinary speed at which so many people had dissolved contracts for themselves in this May to August time frame. And then in September there was this burst of new energy, and for many people either a resolution or a period of calm. Don't be surprised if in October, even as you're interacting with new experiences or new contracts, for want of a better term, there is a feeling of residue coming up for some of you. That doesn't necessarily mean grief, although it may show up as that, but perhaps a little more reflection on how many changes have happened for you this year. And at the core of all of that is this enormous identity shift that so many of us are very viscerally feeling in ourselves and experiencing, but that we also as a collective are going through. You only need to look at what's playing out in the everyday reality outside us at the moment, or watch the news stories to kind of see the absurdity of so many things going on that people have never really seen before in this way, or that don't make sense, or that seem weirdly explosive. And that's this transformational time that we're in. So equally, for sensitives, for empaths, for seekers, for people who are spiritually aligned or conscious, there can be this very clear awareness of feeling very different inside yourself and looking back and going, wow, I've come so far. But I always feel it's good for us to remember it's not always that apparent to other people in our life. So sometimes we might have gone through an internal shift which will manifest in outer reality at a later date, but until we make a change in our behavior, other people won't necessarily notice. And the reason I bring that up is sensitives, empaths, intuitives can often make the mistake of believing that they are transparent to other people just because they have a sense of others. So it's important to remember that even if you're going through a lot of inner change right now, and perhaps a part of you is wishing it was showing up more in the outside world. So you're working on your business, for example, and you're frustrated because things aren't going the way that they're supposed to. They will. You're just doing the inner work before the outer work manifests for you outside in your life. And it's the same with wanting new relationships. All of these desires and new dreams and visions that you are looking to bring into your life are really going to be worked hard between September and December. Whether you are consciously focusing on that manifestation, or just because life and the universe is conspiring to get all of us to go through this upgrade cycle and this identity shift. So this is why some of you might be finding it harder than ever to hook into drama that's outside you, or perhaps that you're seeing play out in the outside world. And Some of you, I sense, are probably questioning that. Oh, am I being a disengaged citizen because I'm not leaning into this? And I think there are many arguments at the moment for us to be engaged citizens with what's going on the planet, but ultimately you have to trust yourself. And there might be a period where for a month or two, you hooking out of all of it is what's best for you and is what actually is going to give you the core stability and the sense of peace that you need while you are going through what is quite a major rebirth. So, is rebirth happening for everybody? Yes and no. Some people will be experiencing it very strongly and it will be playing out in big ways in their life, and others will be having aspects of their life tapped on. So for example, you might be getting a little more irritated if you're one of those people with a certain person in your life or a certain situation in your life. And the question is, what are you going to do about it? That's really what's on the table for all of us right now. And I say that with no judgment. Trust me, I've been there. But there is an opportunity on the planet right now for us to, faster than ever, shift out of our old behaviors, old patterns, and old identities. And this is really important. It's not that there aren't wonderful qualities in all of us, or that we aren't all already perfect as we are at a universe level, but the growth that we're going through as a world right now is affecting the individual and the collective for good reason. There is a transformation energy on the planet that we are being asked to rise into. So, as your human ego or identity rises up, I'll give you an example. It's that part of you that goes, oh wow, I really want to have a great relationship and I'm going to manifest it. And then the next day, because you are manifesting for that, part of your human ego is going, oh my God, I was treated really badly and I feel really upset about it and I've got to get it out of my system. That's just the human ego response to the visionary soul desire. That tends to be how the process works. Notice when you're in that state that you are moving toward this, and that going into that contracted state is part of it. So I bring that up because many of you will be feeling a greater sense of peace than you were across the summer months and the spring months of the year in terms of the intensity of the energy. But that outer peace, or that greater sense of peace, may have now moved into you a little bit and be showing up for you as a little bit of friction, and that friction often moves us into new realities. So, new realities are beckoning. And that leads me to probably my last point for this energy update, which is the energy of life force rising. Every month I create a new recording for my members club, The Portal, and it also is available from my website. And this month it was a channeled message called Life Force Rising, the Era of Kundalini 2018 to 2025. And the channel was speaking about this is a period of time where Kundalini energy is on the rise. So our life force is coming up. And what was explained was that when Kundalini rises, identity gets destroyed. So it can be a little uncomfortable because you start to get flooded with all of this energy, and what that energy wants to do is create. It wants to create something new in your life. It wants to birth something new. It wants to take you in a new direction. But as human beings, we have been so trained and conditioned into staying where we are. So that moment when we have fear about making a change, which anybody ever had that, is that moment when we are hesitant to move forward. So Kundalini energy is the energy of the soul. So a question to ask yourself with all of that in mind is, am I feeling my way through things, or am I thinking my way through things whenever I'm hesitant about what to do next? There is a big difference. And for example, multiple thoughts about a scenario you want. Let's say, oh, okay, I want to manifest some more money, and okay, I'm going to start overthinking it, and I'm going to start thinking, okay, well, if I want to do that, how do I? Or do you trust that there is a part of you that has put that intention out there, and now you're going to navigate through feeling what feels best for me to walk towards? It's a really tricky challenge for us to do this, but it's one that comes through time and time again in messages that I've received, and I see this from others. Can you follow what feels good and what feels right more than what you think is right or good? Because the mind is always tracking the past. So Kundalini is the great destroyer of the past. The beauty of it is the past is the experience that you have walked through to become who you are today. So there's nothing wrong with anything that happened in your past. It's just that your future is calling you forward to something greater or bigger than you have yet experienced. And the gift of that is that when you give yourself to that and allow yourself to walk into it, not only do you create transformation for yourself and your own life, you create transformation for others. And I know that for those of you who like my work or follow me, that's really what you're here for. You're transformers for yourself and for everyone else, and that's part of your purpose. So that is what I will share with you about what's coming to and through me around the October energies and what to look out for. It's a pretty complex month, as you may have guessed by the complexities in the energy update. So the energies are going to be complex. So as ever, look after yourself, be good to yourself, be good to others, and find moments every day to give yourself a sense of peace, a sense of stillness, a sense of joy. Attend to those things and your soul will feel invited in. And then your soul will help you create on the planet rather than your mind, your old human identity running the show based on patterns and behaviors that it knows from the past. Those patterns and behaviors are being shaken up at the moment. Are you willing to let them shake and move forward? So I mentioned the new recording for the Portal members. The Portal is my monthly members club. You can check that out on my website if you want to have a look. And this month's MP3 recording is Life Force Rising, the Era of Kundalini. It's a channeled message with sound healing, and I'll play a clip of that at the end of this video. This month we are also walking live through my Own Your Value course, which is helping healers, creatives, and entrepreneurs value their gifts and increase their income, because it's such a self-worth issue. So at the moment the course is running live, and it will be running live through the end of October with live calls, live engagement. So it will always be available, but if you wanted to join this month, this is a great time to join, and we have 400 great people in there right now going through the steps together and learning from the course and with each other. And last but not least, there is still time to join us in Costa Rica for my Soul Magic Retreat at the end of October. So all details are on the website. Thank you for tuning in today, and big love, everybody. See you next month.
And for some, it is what you might call completely random. You might wake up one morning and simply feel different, and not quite be able to put your finger on what is going on, why your body is buzzing a little more than usual, why you need less sleep for a period, why you want less food. For those of you who have experienced those first days of being in love, when you are having a new romance with somebody, for many of you, the experience of that lights you up so much that food, sleep, and normal practices get neglected for a while because you are full of life force. This is Kundalini. So it is actually happening to and for all of you, all of the time, at very low levels. It is just that this period in history will see more and more of you accessing it on a more regular basis, and it becoming a feature of your own transformation. So just as your outer world is changing, just as you are seeing so many aspects of life that was perhaps quite normal 20 years ago beginning to crumble, change, erode, rebirth, so too does it allow your inner identity to change. So for those of you who are, shall we say, distressed or concerned about what you are seeing in the outer world, and you have been in paralysis in yourself, it is time to invite your life force. Your life force is what will bring your transformation.